I wonder what all these 150 comments are. Literally emoji after check the link in my bio bot kind of crap. There was like one comment that said, those wheels are nasty.
Welcome to the Big Brand Theory Podcast by Blackwood Creative.
Sometimes I think people take that term and just gloss over the first word, which is social, and they forget that the whole concept is we need to go engage with people and be social with them and talk to them, and not just talk at them via a post that's boosted or something like that. While that's a good piece of it, there's a huge chunk of it around community engagement, talking to people that are commenting, answering their questions, replying to DMs, all that kind of stuff. So today we're going to talk about
being social.
Being social on social media. So what's you threw out a term the other day that I am truly not super familiar with, and you said dry versus wet engagement.
So a lot of people will do, especially early on, they want to get as many likes and follows and all that stuff, and they'll create these like pockets of like, let me run a competition or something like, comment, and share this thing. The problem with those is that it gets you a metric that is not real. You're not actually getting people that come to your page because they want to see your work or work with you. They're coming there because you're about to give them something potentially for free. And as soon as that competition's over, they're out.
Yeah.
And the reality is that dry versus wet. Dry is the buying likes and buying, follows and stuff like that. And the wet engagement is like, you have your community, the people that essentially have been with you from like kind of the start, that like constantly engage on your photos and like leave comments and message you when they need something actually from your business, not just a emoji comment on a photo every other day. And it's like, that's not really getting you anywhere. It gets you engagement, but that's not the right engagement. You want the engagement that actually gives you work to make money as a business or drive your brand further.
Yeah.
It's not always this like cut and dry, like I only want to talk to people that or engage with people that constantly engage. It's not like that. But there's a good assortment of pages that I follow on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, you have 300,000 like people that follow you, but I see the same pages leaving one emoji comments on your stuff 3,000 times, and I'm like, okay, those are bots. So you bought those. That doesn't give you that doesn't give you anything. All that is like almost like an ego thing. It's not even a real metric at that point.
I went down that rabbit hole for just a few minutes the other day because I follow Mercedes-Benz on Instagram, right? The best or nothing. There's a lot of great things that I love that they do, but they put out an image of a Maybach car, and quite honestly, the wheels were atrocious, like awful nastiness. So I was like, I wonder what all these 150 comments are. Literally emoji after check the link in my bio bot kind of crap. There was like one comment that said, those wheels are nasty. And I literally went on and replied, and I was like, this is the only real comment in here, and it's straight truth. So, I mean, there's too much of that stuff where that's not the engagement that you need. No. You need the one dude that's going to be honest with you and be like, those wheels are nasty, dude. Get something else. Right. But as a global brand, you're going to run into that. As a more normal sized business, I guess you should have more organic engagement 100%. And a lot less of the bot and single emoji stuff, right?
Right. And that's the other aspect to it too, is that when you're early on, you don't want to go down that road of like trying to pump those numbers up super, super quick with people that don't work with you or people that don't even really know you, you haven't given them a reason to buy into you really at that point. Like, if you're starting fresh, you should be in stories, you should be posting reels, you should be, posting a few times a week with like good content. I see it all the time where people are like, well, I need to hit this metric of posting every single day or twice a day, and they just churn. They churn and burn. And I'm like, you putting out subpar things isn't getting you anywhere either. Like, take your time and do quality, but make it like worth the consumer's while. Yeah. Like, if you don't have a call, like, it's fine to not have a call to action every time, but it still give them something. Like, it could be information about an employee, like, it could be like, this person started this day, or this person's been here for a year or 5 years or whichever. And like, that call out kind of stuff gives humanity to your brand, and it gives a face to the brand. And like, more and more people are realizing, especially in this post-pandemic, realization with everybody being at home and more. I mean, I would love to see the actual true metrics, but like, I would imagine it's probably a 200 to 300% increase in social media traffic in the last 24 months. But the reality is that more and more people are diving into the real of behind a brand. I mean, I'm not talking about that's not photoshopped. I'm like, as a photographer and a videographer, I'm like, we can use lights and we can use, there's tricks to the trade to still make it look really, really good. But there's more, especially like skincare and stuff for influencers and all that. Like, they're literally just using an iPhone and a ring light.
So I think you're right on point with that when we put out real, organic, like true content that's actually us, we see higher engagement levels. Like, we've talked to multiple of our clients to say, hey, when we put out a picture of this person, that person, the boss, the doc, the whatever, like, our we watch engagement go up, because that's what consumers are here for, is real content, just digitally, since we can't all hang out together constantly 100% in one room. Like, it's not going to work. We've created our digital room, right? And so that organic content, that really good content, is going to create more organic, real engagement and less bots and all that stuff. But what is the point? Like, so what? So I have 35 comments that are real instead of just 5. Like, what does that mean for our brand? Like, what does that matter?
I think that's the other part to it, is that people get so attached to the, I forget if it's the right word, but like the dopamine effect of social media, where it's like, oh, I got like 80,000 likes or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, that's cool that you have that much, but here's the thing, that's the true reality of branding and as a business. That one post that you got 80,000 likes, you didn't get one job from it, you just got like good metrics on it. But then you have a post that you didn't boost, that somebody saw from another business, scheduled a consultation, and it had 30 likes, but you actually got a job from that one. Like, that's the reality that people need to face, is that it's not about the face value metrics at all.
Yeah, these are metrics. While they're good, we want them to lead into the true metric, which is like whatever it is you're trying to grow, whether it's your business, an organization, whatever it is. And at the end of the day, maybe it's more sales, maybe it's more leads for employees, maybe it's whatever that needs to be. But like, having 57 likes, 5,700 likes is irrelevant if we have true engagement that people are actually funneling through and saying, yeah, this is good. So I'd rather have like 10 great friends than 100 not so great friends, right? That's kind of the thing.
Right on the head there. That's the reality that a lot of businesses and brands need to face, is that your brand is not going to be for the entire world. You really want it to be for the people that it's actually for.
Right.
Like, you don't want, like, a good example is like, there's people that are in camps, right? Like, we're Apple people, and then you have people that are Samsung and Android and all that. So a funny thing is that, I can tell that the ad metrics are not matching up for Samsung because I get the whatever it is, the Z Flip or whatever it is, the advertisement for that phone. I get it all the time, and I'm like, I literally hate Android. Like I publicly hate Android, and like I am hardcore Apple fanboy. So like when you are serving me up that ad, I'm like, you're not really targeting very well. And granted, there's restrictions now on what you can target, but that's the reality that you have to face, is that if you're not putting out the right content to the right people, all those 15 times that it was sent to me should have been to somebody that was more targeted for your actual business, because I'm not going to buy that phone.
Yeah.
For sure. I really hope that nobody even pushes Apple to even attempt to do a flip phone. Like, that's just stupid.
So, how can we say we're struggling with getting organic reach, because that's just how the game is played now? Like, what's our best option to drive more reach, more engagement with our posts as it sits right now?
So there's no end all, like, hey, as soon as I start doing this, I'm just gonna magically see a bunch of stuff. Like, that's just not how it works. You can do you can boost posts, you can run advertisements, you can do all those things, and that's the money side of it. Like, yes, you will have to put money behind things, but the organic side of it is the stories and the actual engagement. So like, I mean, true to tell, like even on my own personal profiles, so like on LinkedIn, if I put a poll out and I just let people vote on it, you'll get, a handful of votes here and there. But if you interact with each one of those votes, I just did it as like a social experiment. I had like 3,000 people see that post and like 50 votes, and I interacted with each person having a small conversation, and it made the biggest difference. I had like 8 people that like added me on LinkedIn just out of nowhere because they wanted to see what else I was doing. Yeah, and that's
engagement.
A perfect example of engagement. Like, hey, I talked to them, they talked back, they liked what I said, or maybe they didn't and they want to follow me to see what else I have to say. But regardless, it's the engagement portion that they bought into it. And that, as a brand or a business, is exactly what you want to do. Like, you have to have them buy in. You can't just be like, we make a great product, it'll sell itself. That's not how it works anymore. They want to buy into the brand. They want to see what you're about. They want to make sure, the way that you're building that product or the way that you're servicing this industry is to a standard that makes it approachable for all customers. Like, that's just the reality in the world that we live in now. Like, everybody's under a magnifying glass at this point.
Yeah. So we've got our normal posting, and then we've got ads and boosting, and now we've got to focus on engagement. How can a company best do that? Like, is that something that they can just outsource? Should they outsource? Should they keep it inside? Should they hire somebody new? Is this just a add-on to the receptionist duty or something? Like what is social media engagement?
That right there is the nerve that is struck.
I could tell.
So if you want performance on social media, you don't put it in the hands of somebody who doesn't understand social media. As in, like, yeah, you might use Facebook and yeah, you comment on your parents or kids or whatever kind of thing, but that's not using social media like we do it. Like, we actually pay attention to trends. We look at hashtags. We look at the way to geo-target things. We understand that keywording is hyper important in long-term and short-term. So, like, the way that a post is written can make or break that post, organic or paid. So, like, it's not a throw money in the fire and let it just burn and we'll just keep on, feeding that fire and getting more leads. It doesn't work like that anymore. Like, if you want to have more people on your stuff, you have to either have the right person in that seat to do, community management or social posting, scheduling, any of that. But there's so many ties to that. Like, you can't have a reception who's answering phones, but also with her phone or with a camera in another part of the building capturing media for you to share on social media. She's still got to answer those phones. So 90% of the time, she's going to be doing this job and then not that much on this. And the other reality is that having all of that for your business on one person also probably isn't the greatest idea either. They're not going to be able to do, answering phones, responding to comments, responding to DMs, doing research for like the next ad set, scheduling social media, taking photos. Like there's just a laundry list of things, and putting that on somebody that already has other responsibilities is never the answer.
Yeah.
And granted, like, yeah, we do marketing and like this is, we want to work with people, but it's the same thing. It's like we want you to buy into us as much as we buy into you. And if you come to us and you say, hey, my engagement's not really doing that well. I have an email list and this is my budget for advertising. What can I do with this? We will look at that in the context of, this is this budget for this industry, but he's a regional business. So in reality, you don't have to spend $10,000 to hit, a market that's the U.S. It's just, Michiana. Mm-hmm. So like your advertising dollars hit a really core demographic to your business. So it's a lot better spent. So you don't have to spend as much. But the reality is that spending too little and missing the opportunity to generate more leads is also a real thing. Like you want to have a stable feed of advertising dollars on top of social media, on top of community management, all of that. You want that as a core, as a marketing plan. And too many people want to hire a marketing company without really thinking about their goals or their marketing plan or what goes with, that core of what do I want to do with this business or brand. Mm-hmm. You got to think about that before you even think about marketing.
Yes. Cool. So that's engagement right there. Like we gotta have engagement as a large piece of our social media plan. Key piece there is like we gotta have a plan to do this. But engagement is huge. Engagement helps us drive business. It helps us communicate with existing customers. I mean, that's why we see all these brands using Twitter as like their customer service portal, basically. That's what we call social media engagement, right? Mm-hmm.